little bit about Scotland. Scotland, as you see it on the map there, is about the same square mileage as South Carolina. So that maybe gives you a little bit of context. It would fit very comfortably within the state lines of Georgia. And Scotland is a very mountainous country. It breaks down into 4 areas. You have northwest Scotland, and right here is where the Loch Ness Monster lives. St. Columba met the Loch Ness Monster. They call him St. Columba. Columba met him. You've got the Southern Uplands. You've got the Grampian Highlands. And right in here is central Scotland. Now, from Glasgow to Edinburgh, Edinburgh is our capital city, Glasgow is the largest. That is the west coast to the east coast of the country. You can drive that in about 50 minutes. So that maybe gives you just a context. You are further from Atlanta than I am from the other side of Scotland when I'm at home. So that just gives you an idea of how compact it is. There are 5.25 million people who live in Scotland, and 2.5 million live right in here, about half of them. And that can be anywhere in that valley in less than an hour. And so that again highlights just how compact. It's a very small, compact country. I can, even when the traffic is permissible, I can drive across Scotland faster than I can get through Atlanta. And that's when there are no roadworks, no traffic or anything. Atlanta is one big city. It's almost touching South Carolina in the east, and it's practically, well, I think it's just about touching Alabama in the west. I think it's huge from a Scottish perspective. Well, that's Scotland. And just to give you an idea of where we are, there are about 24 churches of Christ in Scotland, fewer than 1,000 Christians. In Cumbernauld, which is about 10 miles in the heart of Glasgow, is one of the stronger, more vibrant of the congregations. We've had growth every year. We have been a giving congregation, not just in terms of what we do financially, but we've had a lot of members that have had promotions and left Cumbernauld and gone elsewhere and served the church. In 1 year, we lost just under half of our congregation to other parts of the world. The family moved to Australia, a couple of families moved to America, England and other places. And then what the church did was just keep growing. And we're in the region of the 50 with regular attendance on a Sunday morning, and we'd work with a lot of young people. This is our family, and our oldest son Joshua isn't pictured in this particular photograph, which is, well, we always bother us. Joshua's 18, he's about to turn 19 next week, and he doesn't think that family photographs are cool, things like that. I was managed to grab what my children call a selfie. And if you'd like instructions in selfies, see me afterwards and I'll give you something. I've learned it from teenagers because they are the best ones to learn technology from. I'm very proud of our children. Our 2 daughters and our oldest son are Christians. Our oldest son is struggling in his faith because he's getting pulled with the world. We're trying to steer him in the right direction. And our youngest son is yet to obey the gospel. I met my wife 20 years ago when I first moved to Florida. A good friend of mine was studying at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. And he said, Graham, when you go to America, those girls, and I was 21 at the time, when those young women hear that Scottish accent of yours, my goodness, they'll have a date every week. I thought, well, I've never had a date before. A date every week would be a novel experience. What I didn't realise is that I was moving to the retirement capital of the United States of America. Just about sums it up. And then I met Beth when I came home. God had a plan for me, you see. I could have gone to the Memphis School of Preaching, but the Lord wanted me in Florida because he had someone in mind for my life. Beth's been a great blessing to my working in Cumbernauld and in our time in Scotland. This is our congregation. We have a very good congregation. It's great to see the diversity of your own congregation. We have members in Cumbernauld from Nigeria, Ghana, the Philippines. We have a lady from Trinidad and Tobago. So we like to say that we have members of the church from every continent on the face of the earth. Although Trinidad and Tobago isn't probably as reflective of the Americas, north and south, as it could be. But nonetheless, we like to make that claim. And of course, we even have an Englishman in our congregation just to bring balance to all these things. We have a young congregation. We have older members in the congregation. And that kind of diversity we thrive upon. And everybody is very involved, everybody cares, everybody looks out for one another. In fact, we have an American in the congregation, I just remember. This man back here, this is Paulina, she's from Trinidad. This man here is Andrew, he's from Cincinnati. So I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, he's a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and we often get together and just cry about our football teams. And it's good to see Jeremy here, he's a Tennessee Titans fan as well. Sorry Jeremy, I just had to. Some of the members are most of the members are very faithful in their attendance. We have worship and Bible class as you do on a Sunday morning, and we worship Sunday night, of course. And what we do is we have our children's classes on a Tuesday and our adult class on a Thursday. And the reason we ended up doing that was because all our adults were working with our children. And so there was the teacher and maybe one or two people in the adult class, and nobody was getting fed. So instead what we did was we split the two apart, because a large chunk of our congregation are involved in every aspect of it. The oldest member involved in our youth work would probably be Jack Strachan. He's 75. He and Maureen still get thrown in and help us with the day-to-day work that we do. Well, as we go through this, I'll introduce you to some other people. Cumbernauld is a place where people belong. That's how we like to put it. It's a church where you will come to and you will fellowship with us, and you will feel as though you've been there all your life, like you know everybody. Not because of this, but because they are Christians. They have that common love that we share, that common interest, that common goal of heaven. I said last couple of weeks ago when I was at polishing the pulpit, I was waiting to go into one of my lessons. And as I stood opposite the hall, watching everybody flow back and forward, it was like watching a river of people. And thinking to myself, we're all going to be in heaven together. There were more people at polishing the pulpit than there are Christians in Scotland. And it was a marvellous experience, a wonderful encouragement to me. And if you can go, if you have the opportunity to go to Sevierville during that, I thoroughly encourage you. It is, as Glenn and Tim and their families will tell you, a wonderful blessing. And a great encouragement to men like me, who often are the ones that are the source of that encouragement, the source of that fellowship for many in Scotland. It's nice to be fed instead of doing the feeding for a time. We started a new work in Perth, which is about an hour north of us, an ancient city, an ancient capital of Scotland long ago. And we planted a young man there called Scott Tommy in March of this year. And a couple of years ago, we were doing a coffee shop Bible study. All we do is we go to a coffee shop like Starbucks. We sit around the table. We were doing this in Starbucks in Perth 2 years ago. And Jack was leading the study. While he was there, a retired woman, heard him talking and heard him say the word Church of Christ. And she went over and she said, "Did I hear you say the Church of Christ?" Well, at the time there wasn't one in Perth. And he said, "Well, yes, I preach for the Church of Christ in Cumbernauld." "Oh, do you know a man called Alex Strachan?" He said, "Well, yes, Alex, my brother." "How is he?" "Well, at the time he was still alive, and he passed away last year." And he said, "Well, he's still in our office." She said, "Alec baptised me in the 1980s. And I worshipped with the church here in Perth until it closed in 1993. Are you coming back?" And he said, "Yes, we are." And so in November of 2014, we planted the church there. And Annette began worshipping. And for those 20 odd years that there hadn't been a church, she had been meeting by herself and remembering the Lord. She wasn't fellowshipping with the denomination. She hadn't decided to go to the Baptists or Brethren or anything like that. She had stayed with Brethren as an evangelical group in Scotland, incidentally. It's an actual group of churches in Scotland. She hadn't gone there. She stayed committed to what she was and who she was. And we planted the church there again. And these are some of the young people that we're now working with. Scott now has a youth group in excess of 30. And about 4 adults worshipping with them. And these things can take time in Scotland, but Scott is already developing a reputation in the community as somebody who cares and gives and is concerned for the welfare of others. And more than that, someone who stands for the truth. Scott is an outstanding gospel preacher and really has a gift for it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. These are some of our young people. I'm going to mention this young lady, 2 young ladies, 3 young ladies. This is Amy. This is Leah, this young lady Emma. I'll mention this young woman. This is my sister-in-law. She's in her late 30s. She's unmarried. She's a faithful Christian. If you know someone that would like her to come to Georgia and be a wife, I would be very happy So if you could just see me afterwards, please. In all seriousness though, I'll be very serious, please come and see me afterwards. The young lady at the back, the girl, Emma, used to be our next door neighbour. We got to know her family. Her father died of alcoholism when he was 30 years old. And the family had to move away to another property after his death. And they're on welfare and things like that. But we've kept in touch with them, and they come along to our Bible classes. And her name is Emma. And during the summer, we had a campaign group over from Fayetteville, Georgia, our sponsoring church that you know well. And while they were with us, Emma had brought her mum along. We have a thing in the afternoon called Families All Together, where we want to meet the families, talk to them, get to know them, and gradually introduce them to the church, and ultimately, obviously, to introduce them to Christ. In the process of that, Emma asked her mum if she could be baptised. It was evident from listening to her, she doesn't understand what baptism really is. But she was so excited because of the investment of young people and older people in her life. You see, we encounter people, and we converse with people, we talk with people, and we don't know what conversation we're going to have with them, or what that conversation might do for them. And give it enough time, you get somebody like Emma, who wants to be part of it. We're very excited for her, and her mother's agreed to let her study. The young girl near the front, her name is Leah, and again, just came to us through our youth clubs and classes, things like that. She's about a year older than Elijah, and she came along, she was studying with Adam, and wanted to obey the gospel. And Adam said, well, because of the laws in our country, we have to tell your parents, we can't just do this behind their back. And when her mum found out she'd been studying, she forbade her from being baptised and from studying the Bible. But she did allow her to keep coming to the worship, she did allow her to keep coming to all the youth stuff that we do. Well, this year, she's agreed to let Leah study the Bible again, and if Leah wants to get baptised, she can. And the young lady in front is Amy, and she's a friend of our daughter Megan. Megan invited Amy's friend, who's also called Megan, to come along to her youth work. And in time, Megan Smith obeyed the gospel. And because of that, Amy came along. Amy obeyed the gospel. Megan Smith is no longer faithful, having been pulled away by the world. And another young lady I'll introduce to you, Megan, also invited to church. And sometimes that's the best thing we can do, is say to people, come and see. And God does the rest. We plant, we water, but it is always God who gives the increase. Those two young boys opposite each other are one of our Ghanaian family, Edwin and Ivan. Ivan's the younger brother. He was the last of his family to be baptised just last year. So we're very excited for them. This couple in the middle, Ronnie and Mary, they are the original converts in Cumbernauld. They were the first people in Cumbernauld to obey the gospel. And for several years, Ronnie served as one of the evangelists. Then I arrived, and I gave him the opportunity to step aside. He wanted to go back to regular work. The gentleman on the right is a man called Mike. Mike was a Pentecostal. He went along to the Pentecostal church, put his hand in the air, he said his prayer, and thought he was saved. And his stepdaughter committed suicide. His granddaughter, shortly after that, died of cancer. And it devastated his wife. But he managed to persuade her to go to the Pentecostal church, and they said everything wrong about why she had died, why these terrible things had happened in her family. And she was so angry that she became very bitter towards him. So he decided that he needed to find somewhere else. And we're just around the corner from where they lived, so he came and started worshipping with us. He started studying the Bible. He started recognising that what it said in the Bible was not how he had become a Christian. And he was immersed into Christ last year and sorted all that out. He's now a very faithful man and a very committed evangelist of sorts, very committed inviter to everybody. He always comes in on Sundays, a fitness instructor, and he's always coming in and saying, can you pray for this person that I'm working with? Can you pray for this person? Because he's always talking to people about his faith, and very enthusiastic. And the thing he wants more than anything is that his members of his own family come to know Christ. And we're helping him break down those barriers between his wife and God. And she's getting to know us. She's not angry with us. She's angry with Pentecostals. She's not angry with us. But she's still angry with God. And in time that can change. In time, and there's another family we might mention who've had a similar experience when I've obeyed the gospel. It just takes time to to work with his people. This is the other young woman I mentioned that her daughter Megan said to come and see, and we taught this woman Sophie. She's 16, around 17 years old. And she obeyed the gospel earlier this year. And it's just wonderful to see these young women. I don't know what it's like for you, but we find that we've got a lot of young women in our church. Very few young men. We bring young men to Christ, but they seem to struggle between the choices of the world and the choices of Christ. What we are finding is that a lot of young people are becoming easier to reach with the gospel because they were never made to go to Sunday school. They weren't kicked out the door on Sunday morning with their parents to stay there and read the Sunday newspaper. You'll go to church, that's what mum and dad made me do. We're in a generation that doesn't even do that anymore. And they don't care about God. Some of the children that we work with don't think that Jesus Christ is a name, never mind a real name or a real person. They think of it as just something you say when you're angry, or that your football team's not doing great, and you shout and scream at the television and you use these kind of blasphemies, these kind of curses. And they think that's all it is. It's no different from their minds than some other bad words that we should never say. And when they actually realise who Jesus is, that he's real, that he cares, that he loves them, it's quite transforming. And in time, the gospel, of course, does its work as it's done in young women like Amy, Sophie, and perhaps others as well. Of course, any congregation is going to succeed, whether it's Warner Robins or Cumbernauld. It's a congregation that cares about people. You can take if somebody's on a transplant list, Dave Rogers' wife had a kidney transplant a number of years ago. In order to get a transplant, whatever it might be, if you know of someone or find yourself in that rather unfortunate situation, one of the things the doctors are concerned about is that what they're giving you is healthy. And as much as it's possible, that you're healthy as well. If you are an alcoholic, it's very hard to get a liver transplant. It's impossible. It certainly is in the UK, unless you can become a recovering alcoholic for a number of months or even years to demonstrate that your life has changed. Well, why would the church be any different? We can be as evangelistic as we want, but if the body of Christ itself is not healthy, what good does it do to graft anyone into that body? The Bible talks about grafting, taking a branch and grafting it into a tree. We have to do that. And if we think about it, if the church isn't healthy, anything we graft in is going to become diseased itself. If there's bitterness in the church, if there's division in the church, if there's clambering in the church, aren't these things going to have a detrimental effect? Well, at Cumbernauld, we work very hard about our care for one another, realising that we're, as we might say, all in this together. There's my wife Beth, one of our Nigerian families, and her name was Love. Her father was a gospel preacher in Nigeria, and he passed away a few years ago. And last year, her mother went into kidney failure. Because it was Nigeria, because of where she lived, there's nothing they could do for her. And in a very short time, she succumbed to the illness of kidney failure. Love wanted to go to her mother's funeral, but was told it was too dangerous, so she couldn't be with her family in Nigeria. She had her family in Cumbernauld, not just her husband and children, but the congregation here. And it was a great blessing to her to have so many people that cared about her and helped her through a difficult time. And I'm reminded of what Paul says in Romans chapter 12, rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. And in time, God brings comfort to those who know him. Maggie will remember, I'll remember, Maureen Strachan on your left. And these are our two daughters, Nicola and Melanie. Melanie is Adam's wife, Adam is my co-worker. And we've worked together in Cumbernauld for 22 years. Adam has been there for 29 years. And has seen the work go from nothing to where it is today. Cumbernauld is becoming a self-supporting congregation in every way except in evangelism. We're not there yet. Well, we don't have any debt in our building. It's a small building. It can only hold about 70. We're able to pay all our bills and all the rest of it, meet those demands, do benevolence work and things like that. And we're very, very glad to see that growth in the church. And they're taking on the commitment now of increasing the evangelist salaries. It takes time. It takes time to change minds. It takes time to get the numbers that are needed in order to become self-supporting as well. And in time, that will come to happen. This is Jack in the middle. And we were at a men's day down in Liverpool. When a preacher is finished doing his work, there's a great release of stress and all the burden of that work. and so that's why I'm looking like that up there, just glad to release that burden that day. But we were down there, Liverpool, famous for the Beatles, if you're interested in those kind of things. And it goes back, it's about 225 miles from our church. And it's one of the first churches in England that we can drive to. So when we want to fellowship with the church in England, we're looking at about a 200-mile drive to meet with those brethren. I want you to appreciate just how blessed you are to have things like fellowship and hope, to have the congregation that you've got, perhaps the broader fellowship of churches of Christ here in this part of Georgia, and even beyond, perhaps families in other places you might visit, in Florida or Alabama or Tennessee and the like. In Scotland, when somebody gets angry, and they say, that's it, I'm leaving the church, they'll go home, they'll fume, and then they'll remind themselves, I better go back and sort it out, because I don't want a 400-mile round trip to the church down in England. Sometimes we're guilty of thinking that we can escape the problem, and all we've done is take the problem away with us. It's important to remember Jesus' teachings in that, and we do a lot of teaching in that, or helping people realise that. There are always those that get angry and leave, but it's important to appreciate just what you have, that we are part of a family. We're all going to heaven. It's important that we all help each other get there, not become a hindrance to that life. And that's important in Scotland as it is here in Georgia. Gentleman on your left, that's my home. That one here. This is Ian and Karen. We've worked with Ian and Karen for over 20 years. And we worked with our children through our youth group. We got to know them. And they wouldn't come to church. Ian was Catholic, Karen is Church of Scotland, which is Presbyterian. And she was a Sunday school teacher in the Church of Scotland. Not interested. But one church, but thanks for working with our children. Then she had a miscarriage a number of years ago. And she stopped going to the Church of Scotland, and I'm angry with God. She wouldn't go back. We went out and we tried to minister to her and help her through what was a difficult time. I'm not interested, I'm angry at God. And then one day her father took ill. She had another baby, and little Lisa comes to church, she's 9 years old now. And that's the youngest of her 4 children. And her father took ill, had a heart attack, and was taken into hospital. And Adam went and visited him. And I went and visited him. And we went by and saw Karen. And she said, thank you for going and seeing my dad. Not long after that, she started coming to church. Then we discovered that she wanted to obey the gospel because that's what she was hearing. But she was terrified of water. So we just patiently worked with her. And then last year, she and her husband committed to Christ. We knew that Ian wanted to obey the gospel. But he didn't want to do it before his wife. Once she obeyed the gospel, he was actually standing in the baptistry like this, ready to die now. And we find that quite amusing ourselves. But it can take a while. Sometimes people hear the gospel and they respond. But oftentimes it takes a while for people to come round to God's way of thinking. God had to lead the Israelites for 40 years through the wilderness before he had a generation that was able to capture Canaan. He had to take the people of Israel down to Babylon, people of Judah to Babylon for 70 years before he had a generation that were ready to come back and observe the Sabbath the way that they were supposed to have been doing. And even though they'd had good leaders, a few anyway, some of the judges, some of the prophets, have been great men, even a few of the kings, not many. It still took God 70 years to prepare. It took 1700 years before the Lord's church, we understand it, as the Bible teaches it, is fully recognised as being up and running in Scotland, and even then it was a growing process. So we have to remind ourselves that sometimes things can take longer than we think. And that means it's now time for us, given the stability of Cumbernauld, to take the gospel to other places. We use applied preacher training. It would be great to send our young men to Florida School of Preaching, the Memphis School of Preaching, and such like. The challenge you've got is that sometimes people come over here. If they're single, they meet someone, and then they decide to get married, and you get an American wife and a Scottish husband. She's all excited about coming to Scotland and working with the church, then realises that when she comes over that things aren't quite the same as back home. And the grandbabies come along. Grandma wants to see those grandbabies. And a lot of times those families relocate back to the United States. So we were concerned about that. We've had families that have moved over. There shouldn't have been a problem and have stayed in America. Different world, different lifestyle. And some have stayed here. And that affects the church in Scotland. In your presidential election, and I don't envy the choices that were set before you this day, but what I will say is that when it comes to the question of immigration, because we're dealing with it, the most important question is not being addressed. It's not the people that are coming into the country, it's the effect that the immigrants are having in the countries that are leaving. When you take the very best and brightest, the brain drain as we call it in Scotland, from those countries, then others will follow because their doctors, their lawyers, their teachers have moved away. And that's really the question that needs to be addressed. That's the question that we try to address with live preacher training. So we use programs like the World Video Bible School to train young men to preach the gospel. Scott has gone through this program and is about to graduate. And another young man in the church, Paolo, has begun this program. And they'll stay in Scotland, they'll study in Scotland, they'll serve with the church in Scotland, they'll preach in Scotland, and when they graduate, they'll still be in Scotland. Then it may be that they reach out for help from other places. But the important thing is they're still in Scotland. That's why the church will grow in Scotland. We can send them here and they can get outstanding learning, which they can get in Scotland now. But there's a risk that they never come back. And that always harms the church. I've been in congregations here in the United States. I've gone from vibrant congregations and have all but diminished simply because the local economy changed. The local plant closed, the local factory changed hands, the local business moved to the other side of the country, and the congregations just died. During the Dust Bowl in the 30s and 40s, the church grew exponentially in California because many of the people that were moving there were leaving homes and communities in Oklahoma and Kansas and Texas to go over there. And they took the gospel with them, and that's good. You know, that's a Tower of Babel story to remind ourselves that we are always commission-minded. But it always has an impact on those that are left behind. So applied preacher training is meant to counteract that. We're redoing gospel tracts and such like. Same message, different format, but nothing other than that is changing. A DVD that you can give to somebody, this is a long-term project, it really is difficult to get going. But we've got the first 2 scripts done, we're looking at getting the 3rd one done. You have to work with someone on this. The chap I'm working with is very busy, but he also lost his wife 4 years ago. And it's taken him about 4 years to come to terms with that loss and the grief that came with it. But we want to get this back up and running. And again, it's just a way of introducing somebody to who Jesus is and what his church is. It's always been said, Graham, you get a face for radio. So I do a radio show for 1 hour every week. I'm a guest on it. We just talk about the news, but giving it a Christian perspective. We've had some fascinating discussions about homosexuality, about the ordination of gay ministers. And of course in the news recently, it might have made it over years about a bishop in the Church of England, because they don't really understand what a bishop is because it's not the same as the Bible describes, who is in an openly gay relationship, having lied about not being in that relationship in the first place, and it's causing a stir amongst the more conservative elements in the Church of England. It's fascinating to me that people see nothing wrong with a gay relationship that isn't even a marriage. I mean, the whole aspect of gay marriage is wrong anyway. But that they think it's okay to be in that kind of relationship, even if it's not in a committed relationship, to use the sort of term that we hear bandied about. That just highlights the whole problem. When we allow any number of sexual digressions in the church with regard to sex outside of marriage, to marriage, divorce and remarriage and the like, then all it does is lead on to the next one, lead on to the next division, lead on to the next digression, till eventually you end up with the fringe elements of these groups saying, when is it going to be our turn? That's why the world is in such turmoil, particularly the Western world, and why the church faces such challenges today. So it's important to stay with what the Bible teaches. And that's our job. And I've gained something of a reputation in Revival FM. I've been there 5.5 years. I've been somebody that doesn't compromise. That's them saying that. I'm really just passing on a paraphrase of what they say about me. I've had some interesting debates with, it's a multi-denominational group, and I ended up with it by accident, and avoid getting involved in the denominational activities of the group. And they recognise that, and they ask questions about it. And they recognise that there are differences. And the guy I do the radio show is now, when I go back, we'll be studying the Bible together as part of our preparation for the programme. And when you have that opportunity, then You don't know what's going to happen. One of these projects you kind of put on the list. It's summed up by John 3:16, for God so loved the world. And it's the idea of just taking a 3-minute video and giving your own witness statement, if you will. I tried to shy away from that term, but it maybe best describes it. Talking and just saying what it means to you to be a Christian, to be loved by God, to be a part of His church, whatever it is. It's a passive form of evangelism. But I'd like to think it would help those that participate in the programme to then become more evangelistically minded, more mission-minded in their communities, more confident and bold in talking to others about their faith, and that's part of the immersion. This is one of our coffee shop studies. This is one we did in Perth. And one of the things we always emphasise is spend time with people. This is a young man who came over to do the gospel meeting in Perth, and he's studying at Free Hartman University. And he just spent time with this boy during the 2 weeks that they were there. Got to know him, and this young boy comes to the youth club and comes to church on Sunday, came to Camp Heatherville, which we've been running for nearly 50 years. And people take an interest in you. You respond to that, and that's what we're seeing in young people. A lot of people don't care about the young. They don't spend enough time with them. They aren't the church of the future. They're the church of now. We need to remember that their role today is as important now as it will be in 50 years. But what we do with them now will affect that role 50 years down the road. And just spending time with people makes a difference. Spending time with people who have never heard the gospel at all, even in a corrupted form, and making a difference by letting people know who Christ is. Working with them through, this is a PBS group from last year, teaching them songs. There's Emma again, on your right, and just encouraging, on your left, sorry, and encouraging them as much as is possible to learn about who Jesus is. Getting down to where they are. I'm always reminded of what Jesus says in Matthew 18, suffer the little children to come unto me. And I wonder if when he walked into those villages in Galilee, the children started shouting Jesus, ran around him and swarmed him, and he spent time with them because he spent time with them. The difference is important. But nothing is more important than the preaching of the gospel, whether it's in the gospel meeting or during our worship services. We've got applied preacher training, Scott graduated, just a summary of some of the things. Meeting with the family next week who are interested in coming to Scotland to preach the gospel there. And we'll see what God has in mind there. Growing a reputation, a very sound reputation throughout Britain, an opposing error. And so it's difficult finding that balance between teaching the truth, opposing error, and not being seen as a police state, if you will, or a policeman within the church going around telling everybody how they ought to do things. Just doing it through love and soundness, encouraging others to love God as we love Him. David Livingstone was a missionary to Africa, and back in the 1840s and 50s, famous because of a movie with Spencer Tracy, who played Stanley, who went looking for him as part of a New York, I think it was, newspaper. And when he got there, they introduced themselves. David Livingstone said, Christ alone can save the world, but Christ cannot save the world alone. That's where we come in. That's where you come in. There are people in Christ today because of you. People in Christ today in Scotland because of you. People that you will meet nowhere else than heaven itself, perhaps, because of you. The value of mission work, whoever does it, however it's done, is incalculable in our minds. But God alone knows the true value of it. So on behalf of Cumbernauld, on behalf